The episode begins with a tense and chaotic scene. Akihiko N is panicking as he stands surrounded by unconscious and defeated comrades from Furin High. The sounds of fists clashing, people shouting, and bodies hitting the ground fill the air. This brief flash forward sets a grim and ominous tone for what lies ahead. N, seemingly powerless and overwhelmed, mutters apologies to his fallen friends as the camera pans out, revealing the devastation surrounding him. This is not just a street brawl, it's a war zone. The story rewinds to earlier events. Haruka Sakura, along with other Furin first-year students, including Suo, Sugishita, Tsugeura, and Anzai, are walking with purpose through the city. Tension crackles in the air. Their classmate, Atsushi Nagato, has been kidnapped and badly beaten by members of the Keel Gang, a rival delinquent group known for their brutality. The Furin first years are determined to bring him back and settle the score. Despite not being officially ordered to act, their loyalty and pride push them into action. They arrive at the Keel hideout, a grimy warehouse turned hangout covered in graffiti and surrounded by hostile gang members. Nagato is there, unconscious and bruised, lying on the floor. Masaki Anzai, the normally cool-headed one, loses his temper at the sight. Sakura tries to remain level-headed and attempts to reason with the Keel members, asking them to release Nagato and avoid unnecessary violence. However, his words are met with laughter and mockery. Keel's leader, Takeru Kongo, steps forward, making it clear they have no intention of letting this go peacefully. Sakura's attempts at diplomacy fail, and the situation explodes into a massive, chaotic fight. The Furin members are skilled but outnumbered. The animation style shifts to emphasize the intensity of the battle. Quick cuts, high-impact blows, and blood splatter. Anzai tries to get Nagato to safety, but is struck in the head with a pipe and goes down hard, bleeding and semi-conscious. Sakura loses his composure and goes into a rage, fighting wildly and targeting Kongo, ignoring his teammates' calls to stay coordinated. Meanwhile, Akihiko N, who has no real fighting ability but was too stubborn to stay behind, tries to help but gets overwhelmed quickly. He's thrown around and beaten, becoming a liability rather than an asset. However, his sheer determination and refusal to run away show his resolve. Despite his injuries and fear, he refuses to leave his friends behind. As Keel's elite fighters enter the fray, targeting Furin's strongest one by one, it becomes clear that the first years are in real danger. Keel's tactics are brutal, efficient, and merciless. Suo begins to crack under pressure, and even Sugishita, usually cocky and unshakable, starts to get pushed back. The mood turns desperate. Just when it seems like Keel might succeed in overwhelming Furin's first years, reinforcements arrive. A trio of powerful second years, Renkaji, Takeshi Enomoto, and Yuto Kusumi, appear. Their entrance is dramatic and instantly shifts the energy. Kaji immediately assesses the situation, steps between Sakura and Kongo, and intervenes before Sakura does something reckless. Kaji doesn't just stop the fight. He uses the moment to confront Sakura about his behavior. He tells Sakura that his role as grade captain isn't just about strength, it's about leadership and protecting the team. Sakura's impulsive, lone wolf behavior nearly got everyone killed. The message hits home. Sakura is forced to reevaluate his actions and his responsibility to the group. With the second years now engaged, Keel's confidence begins to crumble. The Furin team regroups under Kaji's command, showing a unified front, with the battle between Furin's first years and Keel raging at full force. After the arrival of Furin's second years shifted the momentum, the fight escalates into several intense one-on-one showdowns that reveal just how deep each fighter's convictions and limits go. We begin with a heated exchange between Renkaji and Keel's leader, Natori. Natori claims he and Kaji are the same, beasts that thrive in violence. What separates them, he says, is that Kaji clings to something soft, his loyalty to Furin. Natori can't understand why someone who enjoys fighting would ever want to protect others. But instead of connecting them, the conversation drives a deeper wedge. Kaji, visibly angered, steels himself for the fight ahead, not just to win, but to prove Natori wrong. Elsewhere, Haruka Sakura breaks from the group and throws himself back into the battlefield. Unlike his earlier reckless outbursts, his focus now is clear. He takes on Keel's Takeru Kondo with brutal efficiency, wasting no time in putting him down. Sakura's strength shocks even Keel's front line. In a rapid flurry of strikes, he tears through multiple opponents, showing everyone that he's no longer just raw power. He's now purpose-driven. Meanwhile, Sugashita and Sugura face off against skilled Keel fighters. Initially, they struggle under the pressure, their opponents pushing them back with precision strikes. But once they find their rhythm, the tide turns quickly. Their fights are intercut, creating a mirror effect in style and execution. One's punch echoes in the other's dodge. It becomes clear, when Furin's top first years are focused, Keel can't match their coordination or will. The perspective then shifts to Kiryu, who finds himself up against an arrogant opponent trying to rattle him with insults about masculinity and toughness. But Kiryu remains unfazed. Calmly, he flips the insult back on his enemy, provoking frustration. The more the Keel fighter loses his cool, the easier he is to read. Kiryu strikes when the moment is right, quickly ending the match. Another of Keel's elite is taken down, and the path to victory grows clearer. While those battles play out, the second-year students lend subtle but vital support to the first years, stepping in when needed, but never stealing their thunder. Their goal is to empower the new generation without overshadowing them. Sakura also reappears beside his juniors during a particularly difficult moment, declaring he'll stand with them fully from now on. The words land heavily. This is a turning point in Sakura's journey as a leader. One of the more complicated fights of the episode comes from Suo, who begins overwhelming his opponent with alarming aggression. His face is twisted with rage, and his strikes become more than just calculated. They're punishing. It's a version of Suo we haven't seen before, and it unsettles everyone watching. Just as he's about to go too far, Sakura intervenes, catching his fist mid-swing. It's a symbolic moment, echoing Sakura's own struggle with rage earlier in the series. He tells Suo that beating someone already defeated isn't strength, it's weakness in disguise. The moment calms Suo, and he steps back, humbled and thoughtful. Back in the spotlight, Kaji and Natori's fight reaches its climax. Natori accuses Kaji of being an animal restrained by weak ideals. Kaji doesn't deny his violent past. He remembers the countless times he would lose control in fights and only realize what he'd done when everyone around him was already down. But what changed him, he says, was Hiragi, someone who believed in real strength, the kind that lifts others up, not tears them down. Furin gave him something Keel never could: purpose. This declaration enrages Natori, who attacks with renewed fury, managing to land blow after blow. He tries to bait Kaji into giving in to his darker nature, hoping to prove that Kaji belongs in a world ruled by violence. For a moment, it seems like Kaji might lose control, but he doesn't. Instead, he stops himself just before dealing the final, possibly crushing blow. He stands tall, victorious, not just because he won the fight, but because he proved he could overcome the worst part of himself. As the dust settles, Anzai finally regains consciousness. The battle is over. His eyes take in the aftermath: bruised bodies, tired teammates, and Furin standing tall. Before they can celebrate, however, there's a lingering emotional moment. Nagato, still feeling responsible, turns to Anzai and asks why he came to save him when he never asked for help. But it's not Anzai who responds. Sakura steps in, telling Nagato that real friendship means being able to meet someone's eyes and speak from the heart. It's a quiet moment, but a powerful one, especially for someone like Sakura, who once believed he didn't need anyone. The episode begins with a quiet moment where Nagato opens up to his friends, sharing the painful story of how he ended up joining Keel. His confession is an emotional one, as he explains how everything started after graduation. One day, while walking home, he witnessed a child being bullied. The sight brought back memories of when Anzai had stood up to him, and unable to ignore it, Nagato stepped in to help. But his attempt to defend the child ended in failure, as he was quickly beaten down. Just when it seemed like things were about to take a darker turn, Natori, the leader of Keel, appeared and easily knocked out the group of bullies tormenting them. He looked at Natori with admiration, as Natori's effortless defeat of the bullies mirrored the strength and coolness Nagato once saw in Anzai. Natori, sensing this admiration, took advantage of Nagato's vulnerability, pretending to be impressed by his courage. He invited Nagato to join his group, making it sound like a prestigious offer. However, the illusion quickly shattered. Once Nagato arrived at the gang's base, he realized the truth. He was just another pawn, chosen for his naivety and weakness. The members of Keel terrorized him daily, and his debts to the gang grew as he was pushed further into a life of crime. Eventually, Nagato saw no other way out but to steal from others to survive. Nagato, filled with regret, admits it was his fault for being so weak and not being cool enough to handle things on his own. But Anzai, ever supportive, refuses to let Nagato blame himself. He comforts him, telling him that he is strong and that he is the coolest person he knows. This heartfelt moment between the two friends is a turning point for Nagato. He finds solace and reassurance in his friend's words, feeling a sense of hope once more. Meanwhile, Nirei regains consciousness to find Sugura carrying him out of Keel's base. Nirei is filled with remorse for his rash actions and immediately calls Sakura to apologize for what happened. However, Sakura, ever the self-critical person, takes the blame upon himself. He declares that it was his fault, as he couldn't do anything to prevent the chaos that ensued. He even goes so far as to say that the whole class knows it's his fault. Despite his guilt, his friends quickly reassure him that they don't blame him. They thank him for his efforts and tell him they should have been stronger as a group. Suo and Nirei, as vice representatives, take on the responsibility as well, accepting their role in the situation. The second-year students watch from the sidelines, smiling at the endearing sight of their younger peers coming together. The moment is a reminder of how far Furin has come, not just in terms of strength, but in their unity as a team. However, amid the warmth of their friendship, Kaji can't shake off a lingering suspicion. He doesn't believe that Natori was solely responsible for rallying such a large group to Keel's cause. He feels there must be something deeper at play, something more sinister behind the scenes. This uncertainty sets the stage for the next conflict to unfold. Later in the episode, Furin's students head to a restaurant to meet with Umemiya, their school's leader, to discuss their recent experiences. Despite expecting to be reprimanded for their actions, they are met with an unexpected response. Umemiya is genuinely relieved that they are safe. After Nagato offers another heartfelt apology, he gives food to a boy he's helped in the past, moving the child to tears. This moment of redemption is significant for Nagato. Sakura, once again, tries to shoulder the blame, but Umemiya, ever the wise mentor, steps in to guide him. He explains to Sakura that the reason he lost control of his body in the heat of the moment was because he cares so deeply for his friends. Seeing them in danger triggered an emotional response that was beyond his physical control. This interaction marks another step in Sakura's growth as a person, as he learns to accept his emotions and the responsibility of being a leader. As the group prepares to leave the restaurant, Umemiya and Hiragi share a quiet moment of reflection. They both agree that Sakura will only continue to grow stronger now that he's beginning to understand what it means to care for others. At Furin High, where Anzai, Tsugiura, Kiryu and Nire joke around. There's a sense of relief in the air as they're happy to see Anzai's injuries healing well. But the energy shifts when they realize Sakura isn't at lunch. Nire tries to contact him, but he doesn't respond, which raises concern. Suo and Nire immediately decide to go check on him and collect a care package filled with snacks, drinks, medicine, and handwritten notes from their classmates. The team dynamic is on full display as Suo maintains calm, while Nire grows more anxious. Their search leads them to Sakura's apartment, which surprises them with how close it is to the school. The building looks run down, almost abandoned. They find his door unlocked, and inside, Sakura's room is sparse and eerily still. Suo's calm assessment reveals that Sakura is sick, alone, and in need of help. Nire panics, rushing to Sakura, who tries to downplay his condition and claims he's fine. However, his state says otherwise. He's barely able to stand, and Suo helps him back to bed without argument. Nire places the care package beside him, offering the food, drinks, and notes from their classmates. It's clear this is more than just a delivery. It's a sign of the group's care and concern. Despite this, Sakura remains distant and tries to brush off the gesture. After a quiet exchange, Nire and Suo leave, allowing him space. Alone, Sakura looks through the items, and the words of Umemiya echo in his mind. You froze up because you care about them. The realization is painful. He froze during the fight because of his attachment to those around him. He doesn't want to admit it, but he knows it's true. Before he can process this, there's a knock at the door. Kotoha Tachibana enters, carrying a pot of freshly made kanji. She doesn't scold him or pressure him to talk. Instead, asking simple questions as she goes. Without pushing, she pieces together everything: his fear of failing those he cares about, his freezing up in the fight, and the pressure of his role. Despite her understanding, Sakura denies it all. But Kotoha doesn't argue. Instead, she calmly tells him that it doesn't matter why he froze in the moment. It's about moving forward. She emphasizes that if he can't act, someone else will. And more importantly, he needs to learn to rely on others. She points out that he's eating a meal she made with ingredients brought by his classmates, proof that he's supported, even when he feels isolated. The next day, Sakura returns to school, his mind heavy with the conversation from the previous night. His thoughts are still cluttered, but something inside has shifted. Determined to find answers, he approaches Ren Kaji, a person he normally wouldn't seek out for advice. Kaji, as blunt and sharp as always, doesn't hold back. He immediately calls out Sakura for pretending to be fine when it's clear he's struggling. He compares Sakura's attitude to putting a green tea label on a coffee bottle. Just because Sakura says he's okay doesn't make it true. The comparison stings, but Sakura can't deny the truth in Kaji's words. Kaji digs deeper, explaining that Sakura's fear of rejection is what's keeping him from relying on others. He's so afraid of being abandoned if he shows weakness that he's isolated himself. This hits too close to home for Sakura. He flashes back to moments with his classmates, how they've accepted him despite his flaws, how they've stood by him even when he faltered. He realizes that his fear of rejection is irrational. His friends already know he struggles, yet they're still there for him. Kaji doesn't stop there. He continues, explaining that fear is natural but often irrational, like the fear of a shovel or bag in the dark, when nothing is actually there to harm you. Sakura's fear of rejection isn't based on reality. No one in Furin has turned away from him. They've all seen his struggles and accepted him anyway. The problem lies in Sakura's inability to trust in the support that's already there. Kaji encourages him to trust in his friends more. As the conversation winds down, Umemiya and a few others walk by and overhear. Umemiya smiles, backing Kaji up. He admits that he too leans on others. The strength of Furin doesn't come from individual toughness. It comes from the messy, chaotic, yet supportive bond they share. No one in their group stands alone. Together, they move forward. Umemiya's words resonate with Sakura, and for the first time he starts to understand what it means to lean on others. Sakura doesn't speak, but the shift in his eyes is enough to show the change. He's not fully there yet, but something inside has begun to change. The fear that once paralyzed him is still there, but now he knows that he doesn't have to face it alone. Sakura's existence has been a precarious tightrope, stretched across a void, each step a solitary battle with no safety net to catch him. In his world, weakness invited rejection, a harsh truth etched into him by a childhood of isolation. Strength was his only currency, his sole measure of worth. Yet recent events, the unexpected care during his illness, Umemiya's urging to leap into trust, Kaji's quiet support, have planted a fragile seed of hope. A faint vision of a place where he might stand freely, unburdened by the need to prove himself, begins to take root. The sight of his classmates' relief at his return sparks a flicker of warmth, but also a gnawing dread. Umemiya's words, to embrace vulnerability, echo, urging Sakura to confront the insecurity he's buried for years. Standing before his class, he lays bare his soul in a halting confession. He speaks of his belief that life demanded solitude, that his failure in the Keel fight revealed his limits, that relying on them might have diminished him in their eyes. His apology, raw and self-deprecating, braces for the rejection he's always feared. Instead, Sugashita's fist connects with his shoulder, followed by a chaotic pile-on from the others. Their roughhousing, a wordless dismissal of his doubts, shatters his expectations. In their actions, Sakura glimpses a safety net he never imagined, a community that embraces him, flaws and all. This moment redefines his understanding of strength, not as solitary power, but as the courage to lean on others. The weight of this acceptance lingers, but Sakura's ingrained solitude is a stubborn adversary. Suo, ever observant, acknowledges the slow shift in his friend's heart, recognizing that change is a gradual unraveling. Anzai, more direct, insists Sakura doesn't yet grasp his classmate's depth, and proposes an after-school gathering for the first years to forge stronger bonds. The group's lively debate over food puts Sakura on the spot, and his hesitant suggestion of omelet rice leads them to Cafe Pothos. Kotoha, the cafe's sharp-tongued owner, grumbles, but agrees to cook for the rowdy crew. Inspired by Sakura's earlier vulnerability, Anzai suggests each sharing a personal weakness, a challenge to deepen their connection through openness. Kiryu, beneath his cool exterior, admits a paralyzing fear of bugs, his composure undone by the thought of crawlers. Tsugura, all muscle and bravado, confesses a comical terror of ghosts, earning chuckles. Suo's supposed aversion to natto, whether true or not, sparks playful chaos as the group teases him. Sakura watches, his guarded heart softening, and a genuine laugh escapes him, a rare, unguarded sound that surprises even himself. Kotoha, observing from the counter, remarks that Furin was the right choice for him. This light-hearted yet profound exchange cements the lesson from the classroom. Vulnerability is not a flaw to hide, but a thread that binds them. The sense of community expands on Furin's rooftop, where Bofurin students from all grades gather under Umemiya's warm, chaotic leadership. As Sakura navigates the crowd, a striking figure approaches, Yasuko Tsubakino, leader of the Jikoku team and one of Bofurin's 4 kings. With long black hair, makeup, and a bold skirt, Tsubakino's vibrant energy catches Sakura off guard. Introducing themselves as Tsubaki-chan, they shower him with praise, admiring his sharp features and understated style with an intensity that leaves him flustered. They present their seconds in command, the Sakaki brothers, Seiryu and Uryu. Tsubakino, grateful for Sakura's acceptance of their bold presentation, shares a moment of mutual respect. As their group prepares to leave, Tsubakino's parting words, a bold invitation to a date, leave Sakura utterly stunned, his mind reeling from their chaotic charm. With Suo and Nirei, he follows Tsubakino, Suo's teasing about Sakura's flustered state, a gentle prod. Nirei's bright eyes steadying him. Tsubakino, vibrant and purposeful, guides them not to romance, but to Ito-san, a widower mourning Yui-san, lost a year ago. Tsubakino, alongside their seconds, Seiryu and Uryu, has been a constant for Ito-san, tending chores, sharing companionship, hoping new faces, Sakura, Suo, Nirei, might spark joy in his shadowed world. At Ito-san's traditional Japanese home, his warm welcome surprises, his cheer bright as he praises their bold styles, a flicker of life in his grief-worn eyes. Sharing a memory of a beach sunset with Yui-san, his voice softens with love, stirring Sakura's cheeks to a deep flush. A burnt-out light catches their notice, the students offering help, Nirei's quick hands ready, Seiryu quietly assisting. Sakura, tasked with carrying tea, steps into a room frozen in time, Yui-san's clothes and belongings meticulously kept, a silent testament to Ito-san's enduring sorrow. Tsubakino, with a playful glint, revisits the date idea, suggesting a group outing after lifting Ito-san's spirits, perhaps with him wearing Yui-san's favorite outfit, their warmth a subtle push to rekindle his connection to happier days. Tsubakino's past unfurls, a childhood woven with suppressed desires, their heart drawn to cute things, jewelry, accessories, the shimmer of beauty. As young Tasuku, they felt abnormal, the world's rigid norms pressing them to hide their joy, to blend into a gray conformity. A gifted magazine page of manly cars held no spark, unlike the shining star accessory ad on its reverse, a secret they guarded until caught, branded a liar by the classmates' scorn. A dropped earring changed their path, returned to an elderly man whose bold fashion, pink shirt, bolo tie, struck Tasuku as strange, yet captivating. At his home, Yui-san's elegance, her flowing dresses, drew Tasuku like a moth to light. Visiting often, they watched her apply makeup, her gentle question about her lipstick met with Tasuku's flustered claim of being a boy, unsure. Yui-san's offer to apply lipstick, her husband's warm approval, shattered Tasuku's shame, a moment of pure acceptance. Yui-san's words, that gender is a small part of self, that Tasuku's loves were valid because they were Tasuku's, lit a spark. Her lessons on fashion's fluid history, once worn by warriors, freeing them to become Tsubakino, bold and unapologetic. This gift of acceptance, etched deep by Yui-san and Ito-san, drives Tsubakino to repay their kindness, their resolve to ease Ito-san's grief a fire in their heart. Sharing this story, their vulnerability raw, they move Sakura, Suo, Nirei to join their cause. Sakura, his empathy awakened, suggests another visit, a bold step that lights Tsubakino's eyes, their enthusiastic group hug enveloping him. The next day, they return to find Ito-san's home in disarray, items scattered from his attempt to reach a photo album, a fragile link to his past. Gathered around the album, a photo of Ito-san and Yui-san prompts Tsubakino's tease, Sakura choking on castella cake, his romantic sensitivity bare. Ito-san shares their arranged marriage, Yui-san's reserve leaving him to doubt her happiness. Sakura's simple note, that Yui-san looked truly joyful. Suo, ever perceptive, spots a dogwood tree in the photo, absent from Ito-san's garden, its meaning, persistence, a brilliant love, unveiling Yui-san's subtle message. The tree, the photo, were her quiet challenge to Ito-san's doubts, a declaration of enduring love he hadn't seen. Tsubakino, shaped by Yui-san's boundless acceptance, insists she lived with passion, incapable of a loveless bond. Sakura agrees, her photographed joy too vivid to deny. Ito-san, reflecting on Yui-san's elegance, begins to grasp her love's quiet depth, a revelation that softens his grief. A young woman, clad in a flowing white dress, sprints through darkened, grimy alleyways, the sound of her heels echoing ominously as shadowy figures give chase, their voices harsh and threatening. This immediate sense of peril sets a stark contrast as we then find Sakura, Haruka, Nire, and Suo out on what's supposed to be a day off. Sakura, ever the stoic, is uncharacteristically antsy, fidgeting in a way that doesn't escape Suo's keen eye or Nire's concerned questioning. They're on their way to meet Tsubakino, ostensibly for a thank you after their visit to Ito-san. Nire himself is sporting fresh bandages, and when Sakura, with his usual bluntness, asks about them, Nire unconvincingly mumbles something about tripping. It's a small detail, but one that hints at Nire's own unseen struggles and Sakura's growing attentiveness to his friends. Following Tsubakino's rather cryptic directions, the trio finds themselves stepping into the vibrant, slightly menacing glow of Kaisai Street's red light district. The atmosphere is a world away from Furin High, and Nire's discomfort is palpable. Sakura, however, seems more annoyed by the inconvenience and Nire's desire to bail, questioning the not-our-turf mentality, a subtle hint that Furin's protective umbrella might be unconsciously extending. Their awkward navigation is abruptly interrupted when the girl from the opening scene literally plummets from a building above, landing with a thud right onto Sakura. Her pursuers, a thuggish-looking group, quickly surround them, crudely demanding the broad. Without a moment's hesitation, Sakura, ever the protector, squares up, ready to defend her. But this confrontation takes an unexpected turn. Nire, bandaged and clearly terrified, steps forward, insisting he will protect the girl. It's a moment of immense courage for him, fueled by his recent desire to be useful and not just a burden. And even more surprisingly, Sakura, recalling the hard-won lessons from Kaji and Umemiya about trusting his comrades, actually agrees, deciding to back Nire up alongside Suo. What follows is a display of Furin's varied strengths. Suo and Sakura dispatch their opponents with practiced, almost surgical precision. Nire, on the other hand, is clearly outmatched, taking a beating but refusing to yield, his determination to shield Shizuka burning fiercely. Sakura watches, not with disdain for Nire's lack of skill, but with a complex expression that speaks volumes about his own evolving understanding of strength and loyalty. Just as the thugs are about to overwhelm Nire, a new figure enters the fray, the sharply dressed Kanji Nakamura, who effortlessly neutralizes the remaining assailants. The dust settles, and Nire is left feeling the sting of his perceived inadequacy more than his physical wounds. He confides in Suo, his voice laced with a painful honesty, admitting that seeing Sakura's strength and his friend's capabilities makes him feel useless. Yet this isn't a confession of defeat, but one of fierce aspiration. Nire passionately declares his desire to stand by Sakura to help him reach the pinnacle of Furin and to become someone he himself can be proud of. With a deep, respectful bow, he implores Suo to teach him how to fight. Suo, ever the calm strategist, agrees, but with a crucial caveat. He'll first teach Nire the art of self-protection, starting with a defensive pill-bug stance and the vital lesson of never closing his eyes. This marks the beginning of Nire's dedicated training, a path forged from loyalty and a yearning for growth. Back with their rescuers, Kanji Nakamura apologizes profusely for the aggressive encounter, explaining his overprotective nature towards the girl, Shizuka Narita. He then drops a bombshell. He's the chairman of Rappo Ichisa, a powerful organization from Kaisei Street, and Shizuka is a singer at their establishment. Nire is understandably terrified, as Roppo Ichiza and Furin have a storied history of violent clashes. However, Kanji expresses genuine admiration for the Furin students, particularly Sakura's courage and heart in defending Shizuka, a complete stranger. The final connection clicks when Shizuka reveals she knows Tsubakino. They've performed together. Suddenly, Tsubakino's choice of meeting place, however chaotic, makes a bit more sense. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode, don't Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Your interaction really helps with my motivation and keeps me going. Your support means a lot.